This is Merchandise Mart. Transfer to Brown Line trains at Merchandise Mart.
I don't know why I give a shit, but maybe it's just, trying to be a perfectionist.
Well, welcome again to the Wise and Know Weekly Wrap-Up. First of post-COVID. Got it again with me.
Brett Charles Taylor, the BCT.
Yes, BCT.
Or Frosty, if you know me from my college days.
Frosty.
People said, this is how mean people are in this universe. I was in the best shape of my entire life when I was in the Marines. And because I was hanging out with all these meatheads, they said I was fat with skinny arms like a snowman. And they nicknamed me Frosty just because my biceps weren't 47 inches thick. I'm like,
that's fantastic.
How do I have a fat nickname when I was in the Marines?
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
So
I'll take it now. Like, you call me Frosty now, it makes sense. I am fat with skinny arms.
That is so good.
But that's a Marine nickname. That's bullshit. And you have to own it, right? It's like any nickname you get in college or the military.
I know.
The harder you fight it, the more it sticks. So I just owned it. I owned it. Sorry,
that's hilarious.
I know that's not where you wanted to go.
No, that is where I want to go, for sure. No. Thank you for coming back on. Like I said, we had you on for the first episode of 2020. And what we're doing now is just kind of revisiting everybody for the first of the year, because obviously the world is burning and it's totally upside down now.
It's totally upside down.
So how was the rest of your, how did your year start off? I mean, I guess it is kind of the 6-month catch up too, right?
Yeah,
because it is June.
It's like halfway. That's what I was saying. It's like halfway through the year.
Oh, we got a cool
a timer. Now the pressure's on.
Oh my God, little sand
the
timer.
Black sand of the rest of your life.
Damn it.
Oh man.
Real quick, sorry, I know we're hopping all over the place. Shout out to Buckley Redner and Scandinavian Spaces for hosting not only this podcast right now, but my team with Mark and Kristen over here in the showroom today. And we're working out of here this week.
Showroom's amazing.
Yes, showroom is
amazing.
Green Wall
is
Green Wall is really nice. I mean, you guys
got to get one. Get one now. The thing is, here's what we know post-COVID.
Yeah.
Is that you need more of this in your life. You need more green. You need more healthy lifestyle.
You do.
You need more fresh air.
You do.
It doesn't actually matter so much about what you touch. I know everybody's getting all freaked out. Get over that. Get over it. Get over it. Get over it.
Okay.
Just get yourself some fresh air, some healthy air. If you see someone coughing, run. If it looks like the guy is just hanging out, you can probably go see him and say hi to him. And maybe, shockingly, shake his hand. And maybe give your best friend a hug and say, I miss you, buddy.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Well, what are some of the most interesting things you've seen since COVID regarding design? Like the fresh air, the green. I mean, the HVAC, I think it was huge.
So here's a tangent. Here's the tangent this is actually really interesting from a design standpoint. And I didn't actually even think about this till just now. But so everybody in our industry is running like out of the chute, right?
Oh yeah.
After the shock and awe, everybody is like, all right, how do we get ahead of this? How do we get ahead of this? Developers are thinking it, we're thinking it, CBRE is thinking it, furniture guys are thinking it, everybody and their mother is thinking about it. It's like it was like a race. It was literally like there was no Olympics this year, but there was the content thought leadership Olympics, and it was like who could get the shit out faster. And Gensler was like they were juicing, they were like steroiding up, like they were like how much shit can we get out? They were putting the first month they were putting out like 10 things a day. And we were on calls like, get it out there, get it out there, get it out there, get it out there, get it out there. And it was like you pause for half a second. Hey, Brett, I didn't see an email from you in the last 10 minutes. Get it out there. I'm like, guys, you guys are killing me. I'm like, I actually have projects under construction right now. Like, I'm I'm like, I'm tapped out. Like
I'll get to it.
I literally tapped out. I was like, I'm out of the octagon. You guys go have your battle royale. I'm like, I'm out. I got to tap out. Like you burned my wick at both ends. I got nothing left. I'm done.
There was so many people out.
But back to my original thought. So what's interesting is that we were working on a project, early stages of design, right? So like kind of in this sweet spot of like where everybody's talking about the
Go ahead. Sorry to distract. I didn't know if
we
I
were
hit
already
record.
thinking about like what's the future of like of spec office, right? Like we were already kind of thinking about this project of like outside of the amenity warfare which was going on, like what's the next evolution for tenants or innovation tenants, or like what are people really looking for in this dynamic universe, right? Like instead of giving somebody, like this lounge space and a game space, which is probably nice to have, but not, depending on the density of the surrounding areas. I mean, there's probably bars and restaurants at that time. There were bar and restaurants that were serving that same purpose. Like, so the building really need to provide it to get tenancy, right? There's so many gyms and there's so many things. Like, was it really what's driving, or was it just like, did the standard get set and then everybody was just like, well, yeah, if I don't have it, I'm not even looking, right? It's like, it's like the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, equation, right? It's like, if you don't have it, then you're not even looking. But do you really need 2 bedrooms, 2-bath, right?
Right.
Do you really need it, or is it just like the standard that you set, that the world set for you?
Yeah.
So we started looking at like, do we just build like outdoor? Do we just put all the money in just giving tenants their own outdoor space that they can do whatever they want, like base building? And here's where it overlapped a lot. Like, do you just start doing gender neutral bathrooms?
Yeah.
And individual stall, gender neutral. You have, and you just do a total, instead of having men, women, you just have a toilet block. Slightly more expensive, right? Because you're building walls floor to ceiling. You have all these things. The question of safety comes up and all these things, of course. But one of the biggest things that came out of post-COVID was like individual bathrooms, right? So it was like those two thoughts, like in this one project, like they merged and like they come out. We're heading in the next design phase now, and we're like, well, yeah, toilet's done, because we already made the decision to go for this gender neutral block, and the gender neutral block basically meets every single requirement that all the post-COVID guys are saying. Yeah. So like that little bit of money for one purpose is actually the best solution for this other purpose. So it makes you start wondering, like, how many of these things are you purposely segregating and purposely doing that are like, you were doing it as part of like, this is the way we always do it. This is the way we always do it. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like the word, there's nothing in the industry that makes me want to mentally punch you in the face than like somebody say, why do we do this? Well, this is how we always do it. Yeah, right. This is how it's always been done. Yeah, I mean, I literally, I have to internalize that anger so much, because it's like I get told all the time that I have like a harsh personality, but me too. I just can't take that answer. I agree. There's nothing in this world that makes me more angry. Yeah. Then that's just the way it is.
Well, post-COVID has definitely changed the game, right? And it's definitely, well, since we've done it that way all the time, doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be the same way. Just staying on the topic of the gender neutral bathrooms and just bathrooms in general. I know you have to correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe you don't know this, but the code for each bathroom, if it had a urinal, or if it had a toilet, it needed a stand-up urinal as well. Didn't that change this year, or something like that?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I remember it was like something like that where they needed it.
There are code. Yeah, I think because it changes. That's some of the things, right? It's like the plumbing code and all these things. You have to start looking at it. Yeah, you have to start really. I think it's the logical next evolution. But it's, I mean, you've seen so many things come out about all the, post-COVID. I mean, the air filtration is like this like crazy thing. But the Atlantic just put out this article. It was talking, it did all this real world data from like infection rates in China after this thing, and all these places that like people were really getting infected were maybe it wasn't the Atlantic, so don't quote me on that. It was anyway a very reputable publication.
I'll look it up, or you'll send it to me and I'll post it.
It literally had to do with single spaces and the airflow. I mean, a lot of people know this, right? There was that famous restaurant in China. There was one sick person sitting at a table. The exhaust of the AC was behind him.
I don't know this story.
So,
is this a true story?
Yeah, no. This is documented now. So he was infected, and in the air path between him and the return, like everybody in that path got infected. Like everybody else on the other side of the restaurant in the same space he was in, nothing. But because he was sick and like the airflow, like he was like because that's how it was his air transmitted. Yeah. Like they all got sick. Not everyone, but like but it like
most people got sick
got sick that were in that air path. But so like air filtration, and if you think about that situation, air filtration does nothing.
Yeah.
It literally does nothing.
Yeah.
Because people were already sick. By the time I got to the return air and was filtrated, those people were already done. They were already cooked.
Now, is this COVID or is this just in general?
No, this is COVID. Specifically COVID.
So the guy that was sick with COVID. Now we're gonna definitely have to look this story up.
No, it's true.
So he was sitting in the restaurant, and then the return was down the way, and everybody got sick that way.
Yeah, between the exhaust and the return in the restaurant. But they were looking. No, but they did all these other studies now. They're like. Other infection rates, like people, like a guy that was in an office, like everybody was within the airspace of him on his specific floor, they had an infection rate. But even though, this is why I'm saying the contact thing is just a myth, right? Especially for COVID, even though people were saying it lives longer on surfaces and everything. Yeah. Even though he was in this busy office building and he was going up and down the elevator and he was doing all this other stuff, no one else got sick. Literally nobody else in this giant office building got transmitted, but the people within his vicinity got sick because this thing, the more and more, I mean, there's a lot more data to do. I'm not a scientist or an expert or anything.
Great clarification,
I am
everybody.
Brett Taylor, and this is only me talking.
This is a casual conversation.
No, but it's interesting to start. I mean, I guess what's interesting to see is like you do have to understand like how these things are transmitted and understand but it does seem that the masks and distance actually, which is the majority of what everybody has been asked to do, that is the biggest way to prevent the transmission, right? Yeah. And so that's why you see cities now that are opening, but they want you to people are sitting outside. Right, like they're talking. I mean, I think it's awesome. Like in the summer, they're talking in the city, our city, and other cities, closing out streets and letting restaurants expand their outdoor seating. Into the you kind of just create this public, these public dining areas so that people can be outside, and then you don't have to worry about filtering air. You just recirculate. People are just coughing into the universe, and everybody's fine, right? So I think it's. So anyway, I mean, I just think. I think a lot of the post-COVID, like building interventions that people are talking about are probably, the majority of them have to do with touching surfaces. Yeah. And I think all those are just kind of a waste of time. Yeah. I think it's going to be proven that at the end of the day, wash your hands, like the world's been saying since like the bubonic plague.
Yeah, that my mom's been yelling at me for years.
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
Like it's not that big of a deal. Because they were even saying, like, there was an article. There was actually another thing that just came out about the dangers of like it was actually talking to designers, and it was like the danger of talking about antimicrobial surfaces and products, because that really has literally has little evidence of preventing transmission. And it was like the simplest way to prevent transmission is cleaning surfaces with soap and water and washing your hands with soap and water.
Yeah.
It's like literally all this other shit is just complete bullshit. It's just complete and utter bullshit. It's like where really smart people want to find, like, instead of the easiest solution being the solution, like there's that propensity of like, no, there must be some innovation that gets me beyond that simple solution. But in the end of the day, that's why it's a simple solution.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
So what?
And then you don't need to have copper infused keychains, and push button things, and like, those guys have probably made a shit ton of money.
I'm sure.
Like there's that one that you see all the time now, that one little key.
Like
you pull the door, you
like
push
the
a
brass
button.
one.
That brass one or whatever. I mean, I wish I would have thought of it, or I could have thought of it, but I had no mechanism to make.
Well, a 3D printer. I mean, there was a guy around the corner of me he had a full cardboard box, and he printed a bunch, and he just said, take one. So, but we all have ideas, Brett. It's okay. But what happened to the Olympics? So what else did you see with people rushing out to get out their information? I mean, I saw a lot of stuff. I mean, CBREs, as far as firms are concerned, I mean, Eastlake did a really good, did you see Eastlake's recap? Yeah. They did a really good one.
CBRE, I think CBRE hit it the hardest. They had that. Yeah. They had that, their stuff. I mean, this is just a pause. I do work at Gensler, but I'm just saying.
No, it's okay. It's okay to...
There's a rush to monetize this thing, and there's a rush to be like the thought leadership, and I think they both have value, right? So like you can be seen as there's a market perception of being an industry leader and a thought leadership in anything, whether it was sustainability whether it was CAD proficiency when that was, whether it was whatever, you knew exterior walls better than the next guy. So I think that I think the balance of that too in finding people work, there is a need to try to monetize the thought leadership, which there is a value to that. But I think, the problem was like CBREs and all these other guys, they operate on a different business model. So they're easily able to provide thought leadership for free because their business is on brokerage, right? So they don't necessarily care as much. Like, design professionals, the only way we make money is like where people pay us for the ideas and the thoughts and the expertise that we have. So it's a harder sell. So I think that's where unfortunately I think the dust has to settle on that piece too, because it's the some of the best thoughts and some of the best ideas, maybe people may be keeping them closer to their chest because there's a value
to knowing that.
Yeah. And so I'm not a judgment, it's just right or wrong. Yeah. Some people are keeping those ideas closer to their clients or closer to the people that they're working with, and not necessarily opening it like CBRE did, which is actually, I mean, necessary and fine, but it's like everybody's going to approach this in their own way. Yeah. I mean, this is how you can relate it. Like, I still find language in contracts that have additional service charges for CAD operations. That's just a leftover because of like way back when it's like, hey, we hand draw. If you want it in CAD, we have to charge you extra. It's like, if you want to, and then it was like when BIM came out, if you wanted, we do CAD, but if you want a Revit model, we'll charge you extra. Yeah. But now, no. Well, now, I think you provide a Revit model, you provide a lead checklist. Sure. You still have to charge money to do lead documentation. But if someone goes to you and says, hey, I don't want to document it, but I want a LEED silver building, right? You're not getting extra money for that. They're just gonna if that's just the standard that they want the basis of design. It's not like you go, well, all right, I mean, I give you a normal building, but if you want a LEED silver, it's like $100,000. Like, they're like, no. Yeah. Just give me a good design. Yeah, I know. So, well, yeah, that's what everybody builds to now. But you know what I mean? When that first came out, if someone's like, oh, you want to be progressive, all right, I got to put a little more thought into it. I got to put a little more effort into it. I got to think a little bit more. That comes with the cost. And now it's normal, right? Yeah. The COVID shit is going to be the same thing, right? Yeah. There's going to be a brief period where everybody's going to there is a value to it, but at some point it's like the dust's going to settle and everybody's going to be like, I want a healthy building. that's the expectation of my design professional. You give me a healthy building,
Yeah.
and that's it. So like that's where Well and Fitwell, I think they're the ones who are going to be like, those programs must be just like they just
Killing.
must be
Yeah.
loving it.
Yeah. Well, Fitwell did a little promo and Well, I believe, through for COVID people to get certified, I believe, throughout this process too. But I think the way I look at it is, why are there barriers, so more barriers up, right? Like you're breaking down those barriers as far as like being thought leaders and being first to the market on some of that stuff. I mean, sure, you're spreading that knowledge with everybody, but I think why can't someone who offers design services sit down with someone else who offers design services? Like it's totally, I think I understand it's a competition, but I still feel, and it's business, but I still feel like people can converse. And I don't think that, at least in my experience and career, like people don't really talk to other people who work at other firms and share talk, like actually shop talk. And if you have a relationship with them, maybe, but I don't know. That's just my experience. Isn't it rare? But I mean,
we could have a whole nother podcast about my extreme frustration with our general profession, which is like there's literally no other profession you can think of that like
this timer went out. How long do we think that was? 30 minutes?
The sands of time have no time.
We look up at the sun. What do we think?
I mean, that's like 30 minutes. That's a 30-minute
that was
timer.
like 15.
15 minutes?
Right?
I mean, I have no sense of time. I mean, in
20 minutes maybe?
I've literally, my whole sense of time and days and whatever.
Where are we right now?
I'm like literally have cut it off. Like, I don't know. It doesn't, the days of the week do not matter. Time of day does not matter. Like, there's weekdays where I'll binge shows till 4 a.m. and be like, what the hell? Who gives a shit? Because like, I'll just get up. I don't have to shower. I'll put a polo on and like have my freaking underwear underneath, and no one knows. And I'm like, or you just don't put the video on. You're like, no video today.
Yeah.
Like, there's no time and space do not matter. Like Einstein is right. Like it's like everything is just connected to nothing.
So not to cut you off on that one, but your frustration with the general practice. There's no other industry that what? What were you gonna say?
No, that like we cut ourselves off. We cut ourselves off at the knees to just in spite of our next guy.
Yeah.
Like we are happy. We're so happy to be like, oh, there's no way in hell I'm letting that guy get the job. I'll just cut myself off. I'll just cut half myself off. And I'll just do it for free. I'll just do it for whatever it takes. I mean, I'll lose my ass just so you don't get the job.
Yeah.
Like where does that come? I mean, like there's no doctors and lawyers and like plumbers and like car mechanics and I mean like nobody else. I think nobody else.
There may be some other people that do that.
They're like at some point they're like if you want a fucking Big Mac, it's 99 cents. That's it. You want it for 97? Fuck you. Go to Wendy's. But architects,
how do you combat
are like,
that, though?
oh, you really want my Big Mac? All right. For you, I'll give it to you for 57 cents. 57 cents. It cost me 75 cents to make this Big Mac, but I know you're going to buy another one for me for $1
later.
You probably won't, and you never do. But I kid myself that even though I'm selling you this first one for 57, you're gonna love it so much. You're gonna pay $1 for the next one, and I'll average 57 plus 75, whatever.
God, you're going into a lot of math.
I messed that math up, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I hear all this antitrust. There's like all these weird things, antitrust. AI fucked something up. I don't know all the history about it, but I always hear this stuff and like. The AIA can't. I know that for sure. The AIA's got some weird rules imposed on them that they can't actually talk about. They can talk in generalities, but they can't actually talk about fee structures or anything like that as an organization.
Oh yeah.
But
do you know who that AIA president is now? The guy with the glasses.
The national president,
the Pachaka guy.
Oh yeah, Peter Exley. I know him really well.
Well, I was at a panel discussion or whatever, and He was moderating, and they were talking about emerging firms coming into the market. And there was maybe 3 or 4 people up there. And I asked the question, how do you guys win work without undercutting or pricing yourself out and undercutting the industry? Asked the question. Everybody was like, oh, yeah. And Peter was like, no, we're not talking about that. And I go, oh, okay. Like, I was just curious, didn't mean to ruffle any feathers. And he was like, oh, yeah, we'd rather not talk about it. And then he came up to me after. He's like, yeah, we can't really talk about that. Like, there's been some history. And I didn't really dive into it. But, yeah, it's like a huge
No, there was an
thing.
I don't know. I don't have any of my fact. I don't know the facts
I
about
do want
it.
to invite Peter on this podcast,
No,
too.
but oh, man.
Yeah.
Peter Exley is...
Yeah, I need to get him on. Well, tonight
no,
is
but there's an
Pachaka
antitrust. But just to finish that thought, somewhere in AI's history, there was an antitrust lawsuit brought by the federal government against the AIA. The AIA did not. They should have, at the time, whoever was in charge back then, they fucked up. They should have fought that thing tooth and nail instead, because they were like, well, we're just a professional organization. We don't need to worry about it. Blah. We'll settle whatever. And here we are.
Gotcha.
So they really.
Are we talking like way back in time, or like the 90s, or
no,
are we talking like the 70s?
Not the 90s. No, I think it's actually. I think my. How do I say this without sounding like an idiot? The impression I've always been given is that this happened a long time ago.
Gotcha.
Define long time in your own perspective.
I mean, we got the sand here. We got time sand here. Do you want some more of that, by the way?
I do.
Okay.
Peter Exley, by the way, for those who don't know, is like one of those amazing human beings in the history of human beings. Yeah, he like Pachaka, like his firm. I mean, to start a firm that's called Architecture is Fun. Like, that is amazing.
Yeah.
His wife's amazing. Like, they are just he's an example to all of us. I mean, I'm so glad that he was selected to be the national president.
Yeah,
Because
that was last May, right?
Yeah, so he's like president-elect. He's president-elect this year.
Yeah.
But it's, it's like any election. You never know how, our country's diverse. I think he was really worried because those who don't know who he is, he's actually was born in England. Mm-hmm. So he's lived in the U.S. forever. So he has an accent. It's like when you're talking about a national election for anything in our country, like all these things, like are you
bubble up, yep.
Your accent can be against you. Are you your firm is called Architecture is Fun? Are you really that serious about architecture? I was really close with him when he was campaigning that, for the thing. And it was like, it's really interesting. Like I mean, this is totally side, but this is, I think it's interesting in the sociology way, right? It's like, and this is all, God, I hate politics, but it's interesting when you see it in the microcosm of like your profession and these things. Like he dresses, I mean, his clothing, I think it's,
eccentric.
I was gonna say eccentric, but I was trying to be eccentric's like.
I know it's not really eccentric.
It's not really eccentric, but he's definitely he definitely has a style. I'd say like he has a specific. He definitely has a style that he has created that for himself, and it's a style. Like, but for sure, some people would call it eccentric or whatever. Mm-hmm. I find it somewhere in the middle, but literally when he was out and he was having a conversation with a woman from a conservative state. I won't say where, but
go ahead.
No, but she's like I was literally standing with him. This is what she said. She's like, Peter, I agree with everything. I agree with everything you're saying. Like I fully support. Like I support who you are and like all of everything you stand about, and I think you'd be amazing representative of architects in our profession and everything. She's like, but I with good conscience, I can't vote with you because of the way you dress.
God damn.
I mean, I'm literally not kidding you. Like her entire thing was like, I fundamentally believe in your character, your integrity, your thoughts, your ability to make our profession better. But at the end of the day, I can't support you because I don't agree with the way you dress. I mean, what the
ridiculous.
Fuck? I mean, what
ridiculous.
the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, it just like, it blows, it just blows my
Well, I mean, there's people out there like that,
mind.
you know?
There are people like that. I get it. But it's just like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
So what were they going to say this year? Because the AIA convention got canceled. It was in May, supposedly in May, but it got canceled.
Yeah, where was it? Where was it this year?
I don't know. Because
last year it was in LA. Oh, it was in LA.
Last year was in Vegas, and then this year was going to be in LA. Or was last year?
LA. No, it was LA this year. It was going to be in LA this year.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause I was thinking. Yeah. I'm pretty. I don't know.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
We got to fact check.
LA sounds right.
I mean, fucking April, May, they're all blurred.
Because it's back in Chicago it's in Chicago next year.
Yeah?
I think so. I think it's actually due to be in Chicago, LA, then Chicago.
Interesting. We'll look
or
it
maybe,
up.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty sure it's Chicago within a couple of years.
Okay.
I mean, Chicago. They rotate like a few.
Yeah.
It's not like it's really not that many places.
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't understand why they ever have it in Vegas.
Wow,
architecturally.
I'll tell you why.
No, but I mean, all right, fine, I get it.
I mean, everybody thinks the architects are stuffy, but you know, throw them out in Vegas.
Look.
People are gonna have a good time.
I got married in Vegas on New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Like understand why people like Vegas.
Yeah.
But I just, in the architecture universe, I'm not 100% convinced on Vegas.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
anyway,
no, you're fine. So the rush for the arm not the arms race. I don't want to use those words. The rush for getting out information during COVID
it was a thought Olympics.
Was very, very high stress, and
it was intense,
there
man.
was a lot of. I mean, even salespeople. I mean, I'm sure those emails don't even get to your email as well, but the vendors, the manufacturers, I mean, everybody was just freaking out and trying to share things and see different ways to get in front of people, right? And it's been interesting to see, and we're like fresh out of hibernation, so it's going to be interesting to see how everything moves. The one presentation that I saw that was really good. You got that?
I got it.
You got it? Okay. Was an Ogilvy presentation about how brands handled it and how they like altered their things. So it was an interesting advertising. The best presentation that I saw was from advertising for sure out of COVID. But
advertising is somewhat easier, right? I mean, it's like you.
Well, yeah, you take a story and you ride with it, right? Or you twist it, or you create a narrative around it.
When you got to take a very small sample of information and then convince somebody who's going to spend $200 million to build a building that's going to last for 50 plus years and say, no, I know it's only been 3 months, but I've literally got it all fucking figured out. It's exactly what you need to do. No. Seriously, I hear you, but no, I know. I know. You're paying me. I mean, I get it. We're like, I mean, I'm the expert. No. I hear you, but listen to me. No, come on.
There you go.
Just write the check. I know what I'm doing.
There you go.
And all the guys are like, I don't think I'm gonna write the check right now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like you, but I'm not. Like, how about let's reconvene? Like, at first it was like, I don't want to write the check right now. Like, let's reconvene by, like, how about June? Like, we'll talk in June.
Yeah.
And then June gets close and everybody's like, oh, June's coming up. We're about to get that check. We're about to get started. And they're like, well, I was just watching, Jersey Shore reruns and, like, those kids are crazy. I don't know what, let's push it back a month. Like, how about July? Like, we'll talk. Let's talk in July. Some people are like, dude, seriously, like, I'm just gonna take the summer off now. I mean,
We're still talking about advertising.
No, I'm just talking about the world.
The world.
The world that like wants to write checks. Like the people that want to spend money. They're like,
Oh,
just
you're
like,
saying yes in general. Yes,
they're just like,
absolutely.
It's like everybody pushed it. Everybody thought like, no, seriously, people were like, I remember when this first happened, the most pessimistic view people had was like beginning of June.
Oh yeah.
That was the most pessimistic people were getting at the onset. If
beginning of June.
Seriously, no.
Like last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was the most pessimistic. That was the most pessimistic outlook people were having.
Gotcha.
They're like, all right, this is gonna happen. It's gonna be a few months, but it's like the most pessimistic. Like beginning of June. It's gonna be the beginning of June because everybody's like giving like 6-week outlooks or whatever, and people are like, no, it's gonna be beginning of June. And now it's like,
we're done for the year.
It's done for the year. I mean, seriously, we're done for the year.
I think April,
we're done for the year.
April and May. I mean, the heads that rolled in. It's so weird using euphemisms now. Is it euphemisms? Heads are gonna roll.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever. The people who got laid off and let go and furloughed in April, I think that was a pretty. I mean, those were drastic measures because I think the outlook was just so random, and I think a lot of people, some people use it in the correct way. Obviously, some people snuck some things in there to like hold people or whatever it may be. But I think at the end of May, you're about right. Mid-May, end of May, it was really starting to sink in. Like, oh shit! Like this is gonna be a big issue. Like regardless of what industry, at least for us, I think it was pretty crazy.
I mean, the toughest thing about this whole thing, and I'm, in 2007, 2008, whatever, I was in a slightly different position than I'm in now, where I wasn't responsible for as many people. I mean, I'm older now. So I'm not, I haven't had to deal with, I had to deal with the repercussions of the projects I had that were going down or whatever, and the same kind of things I'm doing now in predictions, but now I actually have more. I'm more closely connected to the operations and studios and like how people go. But I think the fundamental difference for me in the two is that the first 2000. Do people just say 2008? Is that
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's like people just say 2008, right?
Yeah.
It hit like a freaking, like an anvil. Like it was just like right over your head.
I was relatively still unaware in 2008, so I don't know exactly how it happened.
It was really quick. I mean, people like the economy stopped. I mean, it stopped like a brick, like you hit a brick wall. It stopped. Like it was like it was way more abrupt than this, right? It was like the crash happened, and it felt like everybody ran into a brick wall. It was like everything like just hit a brick wall, and it was just like and the wheels just fell off everything. Jeez. It was like damage control, but the difference is because it was so immediate and so sudden. And it was true. Like there was massive layoffs. There was like everything, but everything happened so fast. But the difference too was that the world didn't really stop running.
Right.
Like people's access. Really, what happened is people's access to money, which is important in the world we live in. People's access to money stopped. Right. Like banks were fucked up, so like people couldn't get money to do all the downhill effects of all that. People were over leveraged and all this stuff. The trickle down. But the reality is like it wasn't like the world the world was still operating. So like if you were in our profession and like you lost your job, it may not have been your first choice, but you could go find a bar somewhere and bartend, or you could wait tables, or you could there were other opportunities. Like people went back to school. Like people that were young or that were maybe getting ready to graduate were like, well, I'm just going to stay in school. There's no reason for me to go in the marketplace. I'll just stay in school and get another degree or extend my degree or whatever, because it's like there was no but you don't even. But it's like there were, and then the federal government and everybody else, like they were like, all right, here's a problem. Then it took. I mean, it takes time. It's a big fucking mess. Like, but they could stimulate They knew exactly what they could do. Like, debatably, obviously, because nothing's easy in this universe. But like they were like, intuitively, you put a bunch of new cash in the universe, in a cash-strapped universe, then it's going to eventually help people somewhere. And it did. But now, like, and the difference is like nobody, like, it's like this thing happened. It was like a slower burn.
Yeah.
So no one really knew how to react. And as we all sit right here, and right now, like, you can't go get a bartending job. Like, you can't go back to school. You don't even know if you're in school right now, you don't even know. You don't come September, you don't even know if you're going to school or you're still like you're going to be taking your classes from your house. Like, you have no idea. Like, that's so it's like I think what's the most frustrating.
So you're saying there's no comparison? Because I don't think there's a comparison.
No, I don't think there's a comparison.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying they're the same. I'm saying
right. No, I know.
I'm saying they're fundamentally different.
Right.
In the sense that I feel like it didn't feel like it in 2008 that you had any control over your destiny, but now when you look at with this lens, you're like, holy shit! Like, you had so much control. It sucked, but you had so much control of your destiny. Right now, like, you have no control.
Yeah,
you have no control over your destiny. Like, I tried to get home on. I mean, this is not related to COVID, but like. But it's like it's related and not related. Like, I was trying to get back into the city. I was trying to get home. I was just trying to get home on a Saturday night. It's not Saturday night. It's Saturday afternoon. I literally could not get home.
Yeah.
Because of
did you go downtown?
I couldn't get home at all.
I know, but were you downtown trying to get home?
No, I was outside of I live downtown.
Yeah.
And like, because everything was just. I mean, literally could not get home.
Yeah, no.
No one would let me go home.
Crazy.
National Guard wouldn't let me go home. I literally had to sleep on the couch in my brother's house. I'm like, I fundamentally can't get home because, like, I mean, I literally don't want to get into that
topic. Yeah,
but
different topic.
It is
different podcast.
But it's compounded, right? It's compounded.
Absolutely.
It's like
absolutely.
It's not.
It's relative.
It would,
somewhat.
Yeah, I think whatever. I mean, whatever.
There's like a slide. There's a slope right here. You're just kind of like teetering on.
It would have happened anyway.
Teetering on.
I mean, it's like, whatever. There's some middle ground in there.
Yeah.
There's COVID.
It's
and
fucked
everybody
up.
had. There's some measure in there. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, it's all fucked up.
But it's like gasoline to a gasoline fire.
Yeah, for sure. It's fucked up, for sure.
That's all I can say about that.
Well, I mean, I still want
myself in trouble. Not that I'm...
Anybody get in trouble with it? No, I got you. No, it's just fucked up. I mean, that's all you can really say.
And I'm not going to really complain I couldn't get home. I was fine to sleep on my couch. I understand why. Just for the record, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, you probably couldn't get home because I was out there. I was out there on Saturday night walking. I forgot where. We were in Humboldt Park, but I forgot where the route went. But anyways, I want to ask you about the comedy stuff. You said you did a podcast recently. What was that one about? Or what are you kind of diving into there? Because we talked about it the last time.
Yeah. So since then, a couple of us have got together. A guy that I was in Second City with, he started a podcast called Laugh and Learn with Vern.
Laugh and Learn with Vern.
His last name is Vernston.
Gotcha.
So decent hook for a
Okay.
podcast.
I like it.
And so he...
What are you learning?
No, so here's...
Okay, are you doing the pitch?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I mean, no, what's surprising is, like, he has a slightly different angle, but in the end goal is kind of the same. Like, he invites people that he knows through the Second City universe, but he does half kind of improv, like, kind of stuff, and then he does the other half is more. It's a little broader topic because people have different careers, but it's like more about life lessons and like how does comedy or improv like help that or not help that, and like so it's like it's still a loose format, but that's the learn part, right? It's like talking about life lessons and how you got to the career you got to, and ties to Second City, and then but we also spend half the time just playing improv games because we're all bullshit. Yeah, we're all kicked up through.
Is it all through Zoom, or how does he have a video component to it?
Yeah, he did it through. It's online. No, he had an app. I don't know what the app is actually, because it was really slick. Actually, he has a program that's set up with all of his stuff, and it texts you a link, and then you use your phone. It texts you the link, and then you join the recording, and then it's like he's got all the background stuff already set up.
Interesting.
So it's actually, I don't know what the
yeah. How many of those has he recorded?
He does like one a week, so he's been doing a bunch.
Nice.
I've been on a couple times with him.
So we can check out that one too?
Yeah.
Very cool.
You can find it on your local podcast search engine.
Wherever you find podcasts.
Laugh and Learn with Vern. You can hear my soft tenored voice with all kinds of fun jokes. You can actually, here's a teaser, you can learn about how both Vern and I work side by side with serial killers in mall food courts.
Oh my God.
We actually share that commonality, which is insane.
We definitely got to check that one out.
So you can check that out. That's a good teaser.
Speaking of learning, I just wanted to touch real quick on the Chicago Real Estate Awards that got pushed back in March because of everything that was going on. It's now at the end of June.
One of the best parties never to be had this year. Along with Neocon and all the other tragedies.
No, Neocon was supposed to be this week as well. Architect of the Year, Gensler. Congrats. I know it was all you.
Love it.
Shive Hattery, SCB, Right Harima. And then for Interior Design Firm of the Year is Box Studios, Gensler, Grec, GREC, excuse me. They're not called Grec.
You can't call them Grec?
I don't think so.
Does the industry call them Grec, or are they trying? Is it like when I used to work at SOM, some people used to say SOM, and everybody, when you worked at SOM and someone said SOM, you're like, motherfucker, fuck you. So that's probably how Grec feels. They're like, dude, we're GREC.
I think it's GREC.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so when you call them Grec, they like all like the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. I get it.
So ID Firm, we got Box Studios, we got Gensler again. Congrats, all you. We got GREC, Lamar Johnson.
What?
Again, another one.
Love that guy.
All you. SCB again, and Whitney Architects, and then Right Harima as well. So I mean, that's quite a big list there for Interior Design Firm of the Year.
Sounds like, hey, if you're with the CRE, it sounds like
with who?
The CRE, like the
CRE, yeah. Gotcha.
The guys who ultimately decide the winner.
I know. I was supposed to have Dylan on here the other day.
My suggestion is dartboard.
Store dart.
Just throw the darts. I mean, you could actually like double it up because like half these firms are in both categories. So
exactly.
Here's what I say: take 3 darts, throw them simultaneously, have a sticker on each one of them about what category. And like whatever the dart lands, that's who wins for this year and this year only.
Oh man!
And then make sure that the winner gives you 10,000 cans of food before you give the award out.
Yeah, right.
Nothing less than 10,000 cans. All these motherfucking firms can afford it. Don't let them lie to you. That like some bullshit about this like economy is like stopping them. They have a fucking giant bank account. They can pay you 10,000 cans of food for the needy. It's for a good cause. They can write it off on their taxes. I'm sure it helps.
Yeah, right. Well,
That's my plug.
There
Darts,
you go. Perfect.
10,000 cans or no award.
There you go.
Period.
That's great.
That's a baseline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's a good way to cap this off. I mean, we flipped that thing over 3 times, so I think we're pretty good on this guy.
No improv games for the end of this?
No. What's an improv game? Which one?
You can do like. You want to try one real quick?
Sure.
You can edit this out
for the millions of fans.
Yeah, for the millions of fans. All right, here we go. Here we go. We're going to use
Kristen.
Give me an object you can find in the trunk of your car. Anything you found in there. A blanket. So this game is called Sex with Me.
Oh my God.
So Sex with Me is like a blanket, always warm and cuddly.
Gotcha. Now I'm supposed to say sex with me?
Sex with Me is like a blanket, and then you give the punchline.
Long and soft. Was that
perfect? See, there you go.
Good? Perfect.
You win.
Perfect.
There you go.
Well, thank you again, my man.
Good job. Good job,
appreciate
Felix,
it.
on your first
Improv
improv game.
I hope I nailed it. You see
gave-
that one?
you gave me a-
Was that another pun?
Well, sort of.
Okay.
But you have to have a subject to like nail it to.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank
Brett
you.
Taylor, everybody. We'll catch up here soon, man.
You can find me on Marina City.
Yeah, where can people find you?
Just knock on the door. We're accepting visitors. I have beer, and we love company. So even if I don't know you, just come up. Thanks.
Your safety is
Take
important. If you observe unattended packages, vandalism, or suspicious activity, inform CTA personnel immediately.